growth of my channel fell heavily on my ranked series on Plants vs Zombies 2, and as more of you guys started watching the videos and forming the Golden Squad, anticipation was building for the remaining videos in the series. The hype got bigger and bigger, and the reception grew more and more positive, and then I dropped my modern day list.
Uh-oh, spaghetti-o!
Despite being a success story and nearly 200k views, the ranking wasn't nearly as well received as the rest. Apart from some highly debated rankings, issues stemmed from my decision to lump the tutorial and modern day plants as one, so I've decided to re-rank this list, but only this one. The others can stay as they are. I don't even care that I rank Stunyon outside the top 2 on my Frostbite Caves list. However, there is a big difference this time. I'm splitting them into two as the progression system has changed since I did the predecessor, meaning that some plants have somewhat improved compared to before, since a plant that outclasses them is unlocked much later on now, Bloomerang being a big example of this. So yes, for the first time, if going by the title, I am ranking the introductory plants, and not only that, I'm including the Cabbage-Pult this time round and qualifying it as a tutorial plant. Before we start the video, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Alright, let's get on to the list. I'm Golden Ninja Vlogspot. Here is my ranking of all the tutorial plants. Taking the bottom spot is Cabbage-Pult. Well, that moment of glory for this guy finally being ranked in his correct world seemed like it's all for nothing now, doesn't it? Yay, Cabbage-Pult is on this list. Oh wait, he's at the very bottom. Very occasionally in the PVZ2 YouTube community, a video will drop, get a ton of views and change people's opinions on something. And in this case, look no further than 660NJ's video of why Cabbage-Pult doesn't work in this game. Now usually, I'm not one to be swayed by videos like this. Hell, I still don't think Pushroom is the best plant in PVZ1 or even the best night plant. Sorry Shy Guy Mask fans. But that video got me thinking, yeah, maybe this guy isn't that good to be ranked as high as he did on the aforementioned video. He's often seen as an upgrade over Peashooter, although his DPS is slightly lower, especially at close range due to the nature of lobshot plants. The projectile will be thrown in the air, so it will take much longer to hit the zombie than a stray shot, which will almost instantly connect. The slower Roth also means you can't just whack it down to immediately kill a weakened zombie in an emergency situation like you can with most straight shooters. His strength is countering Graves, and I don't think he's totally outclassed by Bloomerang due to being significantly cheaper and easier to set up in the early game. Also, he's quite good against barrel rollers in piracies as he ignores a barrel, but then again, Bloomerang probably hasn't beaten there. His biggest asset is arguably his plant food, which is great for killing colonies of weak zombies and is honestly more reliable than even the melon pulse, as it guarantees a hit on every zombie, but yeah, not much use for this guy after the first two worlds at all. Number 4 is the potato mine. Well, this ranking is probably controversial given people have gotten on my case before for putting Spud Mine so low.
But early game, you just don't know how to use it.
Well, just to rub salt in the wound even more, I'll say that it's actually a toss-up between Young Pole and the Spud, and the biggest reason I gave Spud the edge is because of the linear progression. In most situations, this guy is totally overridden by the Chili Bean as a single zombie instant killer, since his arming time makes him inefficient in the latter stage of a level, while the Bean has no such weakness. However, the fact Chili Bean has to be eaten gives Spud Mine an edge against non-eating zombies. Anyhow, the slightly longer time needed to unlock the Chili Bean means you'll likely use the potato mine for a bit longer when playing through the game, and it really does serve its purpose well, helping gain sun at the start of levels and taking out a single tough zombie instantly. Another reason why I rarely use him when playing through the game is that Peashooter's plant food is pretty much the same thing and is just as effective, and the earlier levels have a pretty considerable supply of plant food, especially nowadays with the constant nerfing of the levels that I will never stop complaining about because I'm sick to death of poop crap treating their audience like 5-year-olds. Regardless, the plant is easily outclassed, albeit not as easily nowadays as it was before, and his mediocre plant food and lack of usability in Pirate Seas and Big Wave Beach hold him back that bit more. Number 3 is Peashooter. The mascot himself, the OGP, is frequently seen as a beginners only plant that is pointless to use over other attackers later on in the game, or even, in some people's opinion, after the tutorial. I'm bringing up the Bloomerang again due to being an offensive plant that has crowd control and therefore more overall utility. However, besides sun cost, there are some advantages OGP has over Bloom. His plant food does more damage and I consider it to be more powerful overall, plus he synergizes with Torchwood, and due to the Torchwood's big buff, along with his ability to be unlocked as a reward for simply logging into the game a bunch of times, The Peashooter has actually improved over time in a way. Of course, you could pretty much replace him with Repeater once you obtain him, although sunk cost could still occasionally pose an issue at the earlier stages of levels. Later plants such as Red Stinger completely throw Peashooter to the wayside, but overall, Peashooter exists, he serves his purpose, he's not a mainstay in pretty much anyone's setup, but he does have more use than the two below him. Runner-up spot goes to Walnut. This may cause a divide among players depending on how much they actually use defensive plants, and regardless, there's better options than my wall boy, right? Well, outside of that one plant unlocked very late in the game that completely and utterly outclasses him, I find that he still has use over many of the other nuts, since the beloved Infinite is weaker and therefore not as efficient when using him to protect melee plants. And Tall Nut is over twice the price, and then the others that I explained in the modern day video. The guy just gets the job done and would still be my primary nut of choice if I was to replay the first 8 worlds. I never really liked his plant food much though and barely use it, which is where Infinite has the overwhelming advantage since that guy has one of the most broken boosts in the game. Yes, I know I can't really say that anymore about Johnny's plant food now that Wolfie is an accomplished PvZ2 player, no matter how much it's outperformed by that of Space Johnny, but I digress. Overall, as redundant as this guy may be later on in the game, he's not overridden nearly as quickly as the plants below him, so he gets a silver medal. Taking that sweet spot at the top of this satisfactory summary of some simple seedlings, we have the sunflower. Some things never change, do they? But in this case, do they have to? The Smurfette of the PvZ2 tutorial plants topped the former list, which was a highly controversial placing when factoring the actual modern day plants, and will probably still be controversial here despite the fact this plant is pretty much compulsory for the earlier stages of adventure. And it's hard to switch it out for others until later on. Yes, you do get Twin Sunflower at the end of Ancient Egypt, but it isn't plantable at the very start of level, and recharges at the pace of a starfish with Parkinson's disease. The one people will often bring up is Sunshroom, but, and I still maintain this, Reg Sunflower is better in adventure outside of Dark Ages. Sure, Sunshroom can eventually produce 75 sun, but that's only when it grows to full size, otherwise you've got a mediocre 25 sun to start off, although I got to give him credit for his plant food. Of course, Primal Sunflower pretty much phases the OG out, and Moonflower also exists, which can power up shadow plants and produce a ton of sun with the correct arrangements, but hey, still a great plant to use in the first 8.5 worlds, right? Still an essential plant to use, I'd say. That's my list. How would you rank the tutorial plants? Give me a list in the comments, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Join the Gold Ninja Vlog server on Discord. Check out my merch store linked in the description. I'm Gold Ninja Vlogspot. Thanks for watching.